Hey, I might be at the age where I can sneeze and put my back out, but the reading is going really well. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and today, guys, we have got the mid-month wrap-up. But before we get into that, please do me a favor, like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it does help the channel grow. You can check the description box down below for links to all of my social media, including information about my Pango books, my Patreon/book club, the Wizards Enclave Discord, and soon to be, I'm starting to think about getting a P.O. box here soon as well. So, keep an eye out, and that might pop up in the next couple of weeks or so. With all of that out of the way, guys, again, this is the month where my patron, Doug, got to select 10 books for me to read, and I have been mood reading within those 10 books, as well as some other things as well. And so far, the reading and the picks that Doug chose, phenomenal. Doug nailed it. Except for, like, one book, which, on paper, I should like, and yet I just, it's not working for me, and I don't know why it's not working for me, so we're going to start there. And that's going to be R.S. Ford's Engines of Empire, and this is book number 1 in the Age of Uprising. And essentially, this book should work for me. It's really good, and, like, the characters work, and I like the politics, but there's some, like, motivations or some, like, building block foundational moments that just feel ham-fisted to me. One of them being, like, there's a frame-up job that just isn't done particularly well, and it's just kind of forced down the reader's throat of just, like, hey, like, this is happening whether it makes sense or not because corruption, which, okay, yeah, sure. I just don't enjoy reading stuff like that where it's just kind of, I don't know, I don't want to use the word lazy, but I just feel like, make me believe it. Make me believe that this is something that could have happened. And I don't believe it. And so I'm unable to suspend my suspension of belief and fully immerse in the story. And then there's a character death of a side character that I was really enjoying. And in this world, there's like a mechanized, like, mechs. And I'm a huge mech guy. Grew up loving Gundam Wing, Robotech, all that nonsense. Loved it all. But here, like, it just, when we're first introduced to these awesome mechs and what they can do, we decide to do it with a character death, and that character who's in the mech is killed by somebody who isn't in a mech. And it just kind of cheapened the mechs for me, and I lost immediate interest in whatever the mechs were going to be involved with. I was like, oh man, like, that was the main pull for this series was the mechs, and now I don't care anymore. So unfortunately, this one is a DNF. Unless my DNF Archwizards have something else to say. I need to ask them still. But, yeah, unfortunately, as of right now, unless my patrons have something else to say, this is not a series I plan on continuing. So, that's my only DNF so far. Everything else has been around the 3.5 to 5-star range. We're going to move that off to the side because that's a potential. That's how I want to. Same with this one. And we're going to talk about J.D. Barker's A Caller's Game. And this book is going to fall over. There we go, just like that. So, this is J.D. Barker. I'll hold it. A Caller's Game. And again, when I first talked about this book, I thought this book was about baseball. Because this is kind of like the classic. When I think of, like, the 1930s or 40s, like, announcer microphones from baseball. Like, that's what I just picture when I'm thinking of that. This has nothing to do with baseball. This has everything to do with Sirius XM radio and Die Hard. Basically, it's a mix-up of those two things. It takes place in a tower like Nakatomi Tower from Die Hard. We've got a cop who's running around mucking up the terrorists' plans. Don't get me wrong, we do go other places before we kind of concentrate within the tower. And there's a serial killer and somebody bent on revenge against this radio show host. And something that happened earlier on in her career, and this person is looking for revenge. This thing is pure adrenaline. And it's fantastic. It pulls you through. It will give you anxiety. Like, on the back of the book, it says masterofsuspense.com. And I felt nothing but suspense while I was reading this. It was phenomenal. The ending just was, I don't know. Like, it was a satisfying ending, but I haven't thought about this book since I put it down. Not really. I actually had to remember to grab it just for this video. So it's one of those things that just lights up those dopamine centers of the brain, and it's going to take you on a thrill ride, and then after you're done with it, it'll probably leave your brain. It's not one of those ones that's going to have a deep emotional impact on you. Don't get me wrong, it's got heavy-hitting moments. and that are executed really well. But for me, it didn't have staying power. But I think I still gave it 5 stars just because it squeezed just all of the dopamine out of my brain. And for that reason, this was an awesome, awesome way to start off my month. Great read. We're just going to cycle these to the bottom so that I can kind of use this as a stand. And let me know in the comments if you like this sort of thing. We've got Ronald Malfi's Blackmouth. I am 77 to 80% through this one. And essentially, this is broad strokes. This is a very much like Stephen King's It. We've got a young group of kids. We've got the 2 different timelines. We've got the menacing figure, like a Pennywise stand-in, but like he might not be aging. He might be supernatural in some sort of way. He's not a monster like Pennywise is, but at the same time, well, I mean, I guess he is a monster. This is a person who finds groups of kids throughout the years and coerces them into committing horrible crimes. And so we're dealing with our main group of characters who are now in their adult lives, and all of a sudden this individual has preyed on somebody else and it's come crashing back into their life. He's resurfaced and their past has come back to haunt them. And it's really, really good. You get to see them struggling with just the emotional abuse and the ramifications of what they went through as children. And like one of them's turned into an alcoholic, one tried to take her own life, the other one went to juvie, and then he mostly reformed his life, but he still deals with nightmares, and he's become a social worker in order to try and like make up for his past and stuff like that and help the kids that, you know, he would have liked this sort of help. And so it's just a really, really good book. And so far, this is getting probably an A, I would say an A-. It's really good. I can't nitpick at anything. I'm just not pulled in to read the book at a substantial pace. Great audiobook. I've been reading this one physically and on audio because I bought a copy on my Kobo and then I realized that it was free on Audible Plus, at least for right now. And so yeah, I've enjoyed Blackmouth and I will be doing more Malfi. Really good horror book right here. Now we've got this one where I've only read about 10 pages in it so far, but that's still a percentage of the book, and that's What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. This one's very interesting. It's another kind of like retelling of the Fall of the House of Usher type of deal. And I'm liking the tone. I'm liking the setting. I'm liking the characters. What I don't like is the mushrooms. They're very early on in the book. There's about 2 pages where we're just talking about mycology. And for whatever reason, like, I feel like on paper, mycology should appeal to me. But every time I have read a book that focuses heavily on mushrooms, doesn't do it for me. I don't know. I get annoyed with it for some reason. And there is something inherently like creepy and scary and chilling that can be attributed, like those traits can be attributed to mushrooms. But like when I tried Mushroom Blues, I just immediately tuned out. And I think it's the mushroom theme. For some reason, I am just not a reader who likes mushrooms for some reason. I don't know why. I like to eat them. I like to learn about them. But when it comes to my storytelling, I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. So hopefully this, because I know this is kind of like horror adjacent, or if not just a straight up horror book, I'm hoping that if it does continue to use that mushroom motif, that it really just kind of pulls me in and seals the deal. I'm still really early on in this book, but so far it's been fairly excellent. Now, we're going to talk about this book right here. This is Black River Orchard by Chuck Wendig. And this is, I'm about 26 to 30%. I'm not entirely sure of the way through this book. This is my Patron book club book for this month. And let me tell you what, this book is everything that I love in fiction. And that surprises me. Like, I started reading this, and like I immediately went on Blue Sky and just started pinging Chuck Wendig. And I was like, oh my god, I love this book. And since then, at 26%, I went online, I found a like Mylar wrapped hardcover that's signed by the author, just a standard hardcover, and I purchased that. It is in the mail, it is on the way, because I want that for my collection. And like I found out that there's like an Illumicrate edition or like an Evernight edition of like Staircase in the Woods, which I do not condone special editions of new releases, and I had to stop myself from purchasing that new book from this author. It's fantastic, this book right here. Like I'm like loaded up my Amazon wishlist with just tons of Chuck Wendig, because immediately I'm like, this is an author I want to read more from. Like I already have a couple books on the shelf. Like I've got the Book of Accidents and there's Wayward and then Wanderers, and I've got the first one in that duology. So I've got that. But this is it's a horror book about apples. It's got the small town feel. We've got a good cast of characters. We've got some people who, like, Dan has been down on his luck, and his dad had an orchard that failed, and then all of a sudden his apples are starting to come in, and he's making money, and the apples seem to be cursed. These apples are different, but they're the most delicious apple you could ever eat. I don't know how Chuck Wendig has made apples scary, but he's done it. And he's taken the thing about apples, the one thing about apples, and he's twisted them in such a way to where, like, I'll never be able to look at apples again. But basically, these apples are being consumed by the orchard. They're almost like addictive. Like, once you start eating the apples, you can't stop eating them. And so, like, everybody is consuming them. They're altering people at a price. And I haven't gotten to the point yet where the price is being exacted. Well, okay, there is a little bit of a price that's been exacted where you see kind of one character do something where you're like, oh, that was messed up. Why did you do that? And, I was just like, oh, this is going to get dark real quick. But we've got a sapphic relationship in here that's on the rocks, and they're trying to reinvent themselves. We've got the orchard owner's daughter and her boyfriend. We've got this apple hunter where he is looking for lost genuses of apple, and he is investigating the death of his friend whose remains have recently been recovered, and he's trying to figure out the mystery there. And his friend was an apple hunter, and just the ruby slipper is going to tie it all together, and it's just so incredibly good. Now, if you are a conservative individual and you have certain viewpoints that you don't want to read about and certain things that you don't like in your literature, this book may not be for you. But, oh my God, I am living for this book. It's got everything that I like. Like, I'm loving the characters, I'm loving the pacing, I'm loving the prose, I'm loving the themes. I'm loving everything about this book. This is in contention for Book of the Year for me, and I'm only 26% of the way into it. I've loved the reading experience that much, and that just has taken me completely off guard. So yeah, I could keep talking about this, but then I'm just gonna start spoiling stuff. I love this book. To the point where I am planning on sending this edition, this one right here, to John from Talking Story, just so he can read it, because I love it so much. And then we've got one more book that I'm currently in the middle of. Yes? One more book that I'm currently in the middle of, and then what I hope to get to. So, I am 60% at the time of recording into Recursion by Blake Crouch. And I'm starting to slowly come to the realization, I've arrived at the realization that while I like Blake Crouch, I don't want to collect Blake Crouch. His books are entertaining, but this just feels very much like Inception, the movie, to me. Inception? I think I've said that right. Where we're using memories and we're kind of doing this recursive loop. It involves kind of time travel within memory, and we've got this cop who is plagued by the death of his daughter, and then we've got this scientist who invents these means of memory travel, and it's just kind of starting to go into this recursive loop, and it's interesting and it's entertaining, but I don't feel drawn into it quite so much. Like, I can definitely tell that while I'm reading, because I physically read the first 50%, and now I'm kind of moving on to the audiobook, because if I continued reading it physically, I was going to DNF it. Not because it was bad, it was just, I was just like, okay, I kind of know where this is going. And I can just tell that at this point, we're just going to do a bunch of recursive loops, and then one decision is going to resolve the whole thing. And that's fine. I don't find that particularly interesting. And so it's a really cool concept. It's a really well-executed book. I like the characters. I like the pacing. But at the same time, I'm like 50% in, and I'm eyeballing my next read. I'm like, okay, I would like to be done with this so I can move on. So this gets like a B. It's good. It's not anything that I'm going to write home about. It's a good book. So we've got that one. And then we've got 4 books that I would like to fit in. I'm not going to fit them all in, but I would like to. I know I'm going to fit this one in because I'm doing a buddy read, or at least a parallel read with my buddy Owen from Owen Edwards. And this is Bernard Cornwell, The Pale Horseman. This is book 2 in the Saxon Chronicles. I've been meaning to come back to this for a long time, and it was one of the books that Doug recommended that I try out, and so it just works. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one because, you know, I want to see how this... I want to at least finish the first, I think, 3 books completes an arc of the Saxon Chronicles. So I want to at least get there before I make any really decisions about the rest of the series. Because it's 12 books long, and that's a lot to read. But then I've got, of course, Balance of Power by Jeffrey Alcohonic. I am planning on fitting this in. In fact, I should have pulled it down, but it's right here behind my shelf with these gorgeous special editions that Jeffrey was very kind to send to me. Balance of Power is definitely a priority because it's just that rock-solid fantasy that I really, really enjoy, and it kind of reminds me of my youth a little bit with some little modern pacing and characterization. Love it. I'm really excited for Balance of Power, which is Fate of Wizardom's book number 2. Very excited for that. And then we've got these 2 that I would like to fit in. Essentially, I'm still about 55% into Blackwind by F. Paul Wilson, and I would like to return to this. I just kind of ran out of time last month, and I just kind of put this on the back burner. I've just pressed pause. Not because it's not an NFN, it's not a DNF. It was just a, hey, we need to press pause. I'm going to go focus on other reads. Hopefully I can free up some time, come back and finish this, because this has been really good. We're currently into the meat of the story where things are heating up. You can see I am a decent chunk into this book, and I've just been really enjoying it. And then I've got the other 2 collections of this on my Amazon wish list. And I've been really struggling with not just going ahead and buying them because my friend Joanna kind of recommended this to me, and I want to dive into at least the first novella, which is Penrick's Demon. This is Lewis McMaster. I'm going to say this wrong. I always say Bujold, but it's Bujold, I think. Let me know if I've said that incorrectly. But this is the Penrick Saga, or this is Penrick's Progress, and I at least want to read Penrick's Demon, which is, I think, like 95 pages within this book. It's not thick. This is 3 novellas stitched together. There's at least another 2 collections, and I know there's at least 16 Penrick novellas. You can get the first, I think, 9 in these Bane book kind of collections, and then the rest are available through either audiobook, ebook, or Subterranean Press special editions, which I don't really want to pay for, but we'll see what happens. But that is really the mid-month wrap-up. That's where I'm at. I hope you guys are doing well. Please let me know about your reads. And till next time, guys, I hope you are doing well. Peace out. Stay magical. Bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons. Thank you for supporting my passion and my hobby. It means the world to me.